No one knows awesome like Neil Pasricha. He joins us this morning to teach us how we can build resilience and live an intentional life in 2020 and beyond. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. Thanks for having me back.
I love that idea. Happy New Year to you, sir.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
We all need more resilience. We see the headlines. We're hard on ourselves. There's a lot of information. How do we become stronger, better, happier?
Well, the first thing is when you have a meal with your family, whether that's breakfast, whether that's dinner, you got to put the phone away and play a game around the table. It might sound a little cheesy, but I call it rose, rose, thorn, bud. Okay. Everybody says a rose from their day, a highlight, a gratitude. I got an assist in hockey practice. My boss gave me a compliment in the meeting, whatever. Then you say another rose. So everyone's saying something good about their day. Then a thorn. What didn't go well? I missed breakfast television this morning. My boss said threw me under the bus.
That's such a problem.
Exactly.
Whoa.
And then a bud, B-U-D, bud. Something you are looking forward to. Could be tomorrow, could be this weekend, could be a trip to Tuscany when you're 100 years old, whatever. Rose, rose, thorn, bud. A simple gratitude game with no devices to build up our mental strength.
Yes, no devices.
And people look at that and they go, oh, this is just silly. But it really does make a difference if you can bring things like that to literally to the dinner table.
There's new studies out that are showing that because we have devices at our dinner table, even studies that are showing that devices are interfering with mothers breastfeeding babies. Our devices are getting in the way of making connections with our family members. We got to put them away. We can build resilience by hearing and connecting with those that we love.
And that forces a connection in a very patterned way so that everybody's participating and they feel like, okay, you contributed, so can I. You also say shift the spotlight on any negatives, so how do we do that?
Because we all have bad days no matter what. We talk about resilience. You're going to have a bad day. When you have one, it's important to ask yourself 3 questions to reframe that day at the end of the day.
Okay.
They are, number 1, can I do something about this? Okay? Can I do something about it? If you can, great, change it. If you can't, you got to live with it. So you got to be comfortable with that. Number 2, is this a story I'm telling myself? Okay? People come and tell me all the time, like, oh, I failed my parents. I say, why? They say, I failed biology. I was like, no, you failed biology. That's different than I failed my parents. I failed my parents as a story. People say, nobody trusts me. I say, why? They say, oh, I drink too much. It's like, you maybe drink too much, but it's not nobody trusts you. You're layering a story on top of that.
Okay.
Okay? Is this a story that I'm telling myself? Can I do something about it? We got to ask ourselves questions like this, and then we can reframe our day.
Sounds like the big thing is being honest with yourself.
Yeah.
Like to really open up and face hard questions.
Yeah, we have, because you know what we all do? We self-flagellate. You know, you get home at the end of the day, you think, I'm so bad, I've done such a bad job, nobody likes me, blah, blah, blah. No, take a step back. Remove yourself from the center of the world. Part of the reason our resilience is so low is because we think that we are the center of everything. I think it started when they put the camera on the front of the iPhone. We're taking pictures of ourselves all the time. So we look at ourselves on social media. We look at how we look. We look at how our hair. We're so oriented towards ourselves. Everything's oriented towards ourselves. Big part of getting higher resilience is zooming out.
Which I love. You say we need to get out of our own heads and force it through 20 minutes a day of doing what?
Reading fiction. From a real book. You know why? Because a reader lives 1,000 lives before he dies. The man who never reads lives only one. And yes, I stole that quote from Game of Thrones.
It's a good one.
But it's okay.
It's a good one because what happens when you read fiction is you inhabit another conscience. I didn't make this up. 2011 Annual Review of Psychology says that when you read fiction, especially literary fiction, like the stuff you read in high school, Catch-22, Catcher in the Rye, Lord of the Flies, that kind of stuff, guess what? You're another person. You're another gender, in another culture, in another religion, in another part of the world. You get out of yourself. We just talked about how that's part of the problem.
Yes.
You get out of yourself and you live a different life. 20 pages in the morning or 20 pages at night actually helps you. And guess what? Before bed, not looking at a screen is also a good thing because looking at a bright screen before bed reduces your melatonin production, so then you don't sleep, and resilience is shot the next day.
Good old-fashioned book is the way.
It is. And when you say an intentional life, what do you mean by an intentional life?
Living an intentional life means being thoughtful about everything you're doing. Not just, look, the world right now is oriented towards telling you what to do. Telling everything about how you should dress, where you should go. Social media feeds you endless ads on what you should do. Your behavior can actually be totally controlled if you let it. Being intentional about it means going into a bookstore, choosing the book you want, going to the gym, doing the exercise you want, wearing the clothes you like to wear.
That's it.
Just being in charge of your own life, that's getting harder and harder to do these days.
That's why he is awesome. That's why this book, which we were so happy to help launch 8 weeks ago, has been on the bestsellers list since it launched 8 weeks ago. Congratulations to you.
Congratulations, sir.
Amazing advice. It is You Are Awesome, the latest installment by the amazing Neil Pasricha. And I know you definitely put your work into practice all the time. We just talk about how you're always, you know, making sure you leave the phone at home, enjoy some family time. You really do practice.
Rushing home to drop my kids off at school right now.
That's right. Priority.
Get out of here.
You're awesome.
Thank you guys so much.
Thank you. 20 minutes of reading tonight before bed. Done.